Have you just bought your piece of paradise? You've worked all your life and finally you have a property to regenerate and turn back to a vital and vibrant source of life, not just for your livestock, but also for the community around you and the native wildlife. Well, that's what Berenger is on the journey of doing, and we're going to find out about how she got started quickly and effectively by accessing local support. Berenger, how are you going?
Very well, thanks. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for having us out to this magnificent property. Now, you've got just under 100 acres in the beautiful Yarra Valley here, and it's home to a range of native species, but you're also running a Suffolk stud, and you've got some polled highland, and even a few Dorpers I saw sneak in there.
Yes, yes.
So you're obviously wanting to run a viable farm. You're going to take product off this property, but you're also being aware of the fact of regenerating it. That's important to you?
It's very important to us, and we moved here about 2 years ago and wanted to run our stud and also look after the land.
Now, this is not your first rodeo. You did have a smaller property to begin with, which you cut your teeth on, and now you've moved to this larger property, and getting going quickly with your plans was important to you, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. We're focusing on biodiversity, and one of the items we wanted to do was put a shelter bed here. So we went ahead with that with ribbons of grain and the Gallagher Landcare electric fence grant.
And those two things are working beautifully together. Now, a lot of people are still surprised that trees are a good thing on a farm that's supposed to grow grass, but you can have up to 30% coverage of trees and not drop your productivity, can't you?
I think it's very good for us. It's a good shelter belt for our animals.
Yeah.
And it will also bring hopefully some beneficial insects as well that will be good for the farm in general.
Now, getting started and doing this all yourself after you've just gone through the purchase of a large property, stocking it, there's so many things to do. You've reached out to people like Rob here, who's your local landcare facilitator, for a bit of a help getting started. That's been important to you?
Yeah, absolutely. He's been very helpful in putting us in touch with the right people to be able to go ahead with that.
So Rob, if people are in Berenger's position and they want to get started quickly on regenerating their farms or putting in shelter belts for stock, there are a number of groups in the community, Landcare being one of them, that can really step up and help and connect you to a network of people and resources, aren't there?
Yeah, that's right. Landcare is all about putting people in the same room so they can have the conversation, or virtual room so they can have the same the conversation about things they share, goals that they share. And part of the facilitation is around helping identify what those goals are and making it easy for landowners to get going with it, which is not to say that Berenger's had an easy time putting 2,500 plants in and 460 metres of fencing, but getting going was the key. And after only 6 or 7 months, we can see the results. It's been fantastic. We're pretty lucky here in Yarra Ranges in that, for me as facilitator, I've been able to bring in Tim Brown, who's the Ribbons of Green representative from Yarra Ranges Council, who for a project as big as this has also brought in the tree project to provide the plants
and volunteers,
as well as the volunteers to put them in the ground. In addition to which, the protection of that shelter belt through the Gallagher's grant has been incredible. So yeah, it's a joint effort between a number of parties, but at the end of the day, it's just like, you know, little local communities getting together and leading from the front with the support of those much larger organisations behind them, which I think is key. You know, this is a long-term thing. We were talking before about it's nice to be able to maintain your shelter belt and actively manage the shelter belt forever. It gets a little easier the longer you go, ideally, but at no point do you just sort of step away saying job done. And in fact, here at Berenger's property, one side has been done on the south side, which is fantastic in protecting, it's quite elevated ground, so protecting the paddocks and the stock from those strong southerlies that we get through here in winter. But there's other sides to the property that can also be sheltered, and internally the prospect is also there to start thinking about how dams, for example, might become not just water points but also habitat points, and for the longer term to be sustainable over a much, much longer period than even our own lifetimes. I think I saw the other day a quote that said something like, when's the best time to plant a tree? 30 years ago. This has been the perfect combination of someone with the will and the capability and the support of the local community, plus all those big organisations like Gallagher's, Yarra Ranges Council. It's just been a really good joint effort.
So the big message there is, if people are wanting to improve the productivity of their farm to begin with, and have a measured and stepwise solution to the problem where they don't have to do everything at once, get in touch with your local landcare coordinator, because they can put you in touch with everyone else that's going to come together and form a plan for you so that your business can thrive and wildlife can thrive at the same time. How good is that?
I don't pretend to know anything about land management, but I know the people who do.
So the big message here, Rob, is if you're a landholder, and even if you're just wanting to dip your toes in the water, get in touch with your local landcare coordinator, because they can connect you with a whole heap of people, but they can do it in a purposeful way so you can start small and have a well-managed program that doesn't overwhelm you. Guys, if you're interested in this sort of stuff, get onto your local landcare organisation. There's a link in the description. Berenger, thank you very much for having us out here today. Rob, fantastic to meet you, mate. I'm hoping we do more together in the future. And if you guys like great tips, good stories and fantastic gear, subscribe to the channel. Don't miss a single video.